I came from a home where I was abused by my father. When it happened for several years before I was able to tell my mom about it. And at the time that my mom actually had found out some other things about my father, she sat me down one day and she asked if anything had ever happened, and I had to open up and I had to tell her that he had been abusing me for a few years. So from there, my parents split up. I had 3 other siblings, and we had to move into a trailer. My mom had to put herself through nursing school. So we went from being, a normal, happy family to now we were trailer park trash. We were poor. We had to wear all the hand-me-downs and the no-name brand clothes. And then to add to my, my palette of undesirable life, when I was a junior in high school, I got pregnant. So when I was about some of your ages, I ended up getting pregnant. So ultimately what I decided to do, because I was in no place to take care of a child, was that I was placing this baby for adoption. And the way that looked was that I decided I was graduating high school a year early. I went to summer school classes. I could only miss 2 days of summer school classes to be able to graduate. So I had this baby on a Thursday. I placed him to his adoptive parents, and I went back to school on Monday. And that's how I graduated high school. But then I went out into the world. I didn't have plans for college. I didn't really have plans for much of anything at that point, except for to survive, because I felt so horrible about myself. I felt like I was a bad person, and everything I did, I messed up. So that was kind of how the course of my life started going. And I had this always feeling of wherever I went, what if people knew? If people knew who I really was, and if people knew what I had gone through, bless you, and if people knew, about my past, I always felt so disconnected from people, because if I showed up in a room, I just felt like no one knows what I've been through, and no one else has experienced what I've experienced, and I am so alone. So that by the time I was 31, I was a 3-time college dropout. I was going through my 3rd divorce. My then 3-year-old son at the time, he had just gotten diagnosed with autism, and that was kind of my rock bottom. That was when I was like, this is my life. I'm waiting tables and bartending to get by. I'm a failure. I can't do anything right. And it dawned on me finally that no one's coming to save me, right? Like if I'm going to change my life, if I'm going to ever get out of this hole that I've dug, I have to do it on my own. The reason I had this aha moment was, as Mel said, I ran my first marathon. I ran my first marathon in 2009. So from that day in 2009, and then hitting my rock bottom kind of around that same time, I'm like, I gotta do something to change my life. And for me, that meant going back to college. That meant, even though I was a 3-time college dropout, it meant this is something I had to do. And I did. I finally, in 2013, graduated. I was 36 years old when I graduated college. So that's the #1 thing I want to leave with you today. If any of you don't have immediate plans for college, if you're not sure what your journey is going to look like, it's never too late, okay? Just remember that. It's never too late.